Take two. Because I had to start all over because my son, they were distracting me. They're in the room playing. So, anyways, um, this Ashlyn Giza YouTube channel, I'm going to talk about teacher problems. So, my son had a teacher that was not good this year. She was very, very mean. And she wasn't just mean to him, she was mean to me and my husband too. She asked us to write a thorough email about our son, a little bit like about how he is, his personality, and how he's done in school in the past, and etc. So I did. I wrote a thorough email. I told her that, he comes from a kind of a divided family, a dysfunctional family, because he has me. He has his dad. He has stepdads, two of them, my ex-husband, and then my husband I'm married to now. I know that sounds really crazy, but if you guys watch my other YouTube videos, that explains all that. But anyway, so I go on to explain our family and how we are. I explain that my son's very shy, that he has ADD. He's been diagnosed with ADD by his doctor. And if he's a little bit behind this year, it's because we lost our home due to a derecho here in Iowa. I'm a cancer survivor, so my son has had to watch me go to the hospital and not feel good and have things with his mom, go on. And his biological dad not being there for him and whatnot. So I go into thorough detail, like she asked, and told her what was going on in my son's life. And so what does she do? 6 days just into school. 6 days later, she contacts me via email saying that she's observing Kinnick and she's having some difficulties with him. He's looking around everywhere. He's not really being able to pay attention very well, and she's wondering if he has a eye vision problem. And I'm sitting there thinking, lady, didn't you just read my email that I wrote to you about my son and probably why he's going to be a little behind and acting a little funny? He did remote learning last year, which is computer learning if you guys don't know what that is. He did learn his schooling on the computer the year before, so he wasn't around other peers, he wasn't around teachers. It was just computer learning. So, of course, it's going to put a kid behind. And mind you, he's only 9 years old. This lady was complaining about all kinds of things. So, I wrote down all the things she was complaining about because I actually had a talk with the principal today on the last day of school of what she did. But here's one thing she did. She asked if he had vision problems because of his looking around. And I was like, no, he doesn't have vision problems because my son has a physical every year, just like regular people should get. Not everybody does that, but they should. And the doctor had no issues with his eyesight. She asked my son if he eats at home. She literally looked at my son and goes, Kinnick, do you eat at home? And I'm sitting there thinking, when my son's coming home telling me and my husband this, what kind of fucking question is that? Why would you ask a kid if they're eating at home unless they literally have skin and bones on them, or you can tell that their family probably needs DHS called on them? I'm a good mother. I know that I feed my child and I know that I take good care of him. So I took offense when somebody was pretending and acting like I don't feed my child. And just to ask that is weird. It's like she was trying to stir shit up. She compared him to other kids. When I told her that had remote learning last year, she said, well, I have other kids that were in remote learning and they jumped right back into things. They were able to catch on right away and caught right back on the wagon. Kinnick, he's just not there. In my 25 years of being an education practitioner, he's out of the norm. I was like, well, all kids are different. And she's like, yeah, they are. And I'm sitting there thinking in my head, bitch. All kids are different. So my kid, if he doesn't catch up like the other kids, that's not a big deal. It just means that he probably needs more time than the other kids do. Give the kid a chance. It's only been a week. Okay. So she constantly harassed me and my husband about my son's ADD and also tried to press medication on him. She kept saying, I think you guys should bring this, maybe bring this up to your doctor again and see if, he maybe thinks that could be try the medication again or a different type of medication. And I again told her, I am not putting him on any medication. We've already been there. We've already done that. He lost weight. He acted weird on it. I'm not doing that. And I'm sitting there also thinking in my head, bitch, if you can't handle a kid with ADD, you shouldn't be in that field then. You should not be in that field because there's some parents that like the kids on the ADD medicine. There's some parents that don't. And the parents that don't want the kid on the ADD medicine, then although it may be hard, that is your job. So you're going to have to put up with that and do it and do your job. Other teachers that are listening to this probably would disagree, but I say if you can't handle it, you shouldn't be doing that job, period. If you can't be compassionate and understanding. She was constantly emailing me and harassing me. I shit you not, from the 6th day of school all the way to just the last. She stopped emailing me just the last, like, what would you say, honey, 4.5 months of school. That's it. Yeah. That's it. 4.5 months of school, I didn't hear from this lady, and that was it. But the whole school year, she was harassing me the whole beginning of the year. Then okay, she was at one conference time, she told me and my husband something really, really weird. So I'm going to rewind and back up to before she said this weird thing to me. So my husband ended up getting COVID-19 and bringing it home to our whole family, and that was very fucking annoying. But he couldn't help it. He couldn't help that he spreaded it. He could have helped that he contracted it, but he wasn't taking precautions. He was just being around his coworkers, not wearing a mask, probably not washing his hands, touching his coworkers' tools probably. I don't know what he was doing, but he brought it home to the whole family. And I know it was him first because everyone tested and nobody had it but him. So anyways, he got us all sick except for me. By the grace of God, I did not get COVID-19, and thank God, because I'm a cancer survivor, so it probably would have been really bad for me. But I didn't get it. But then my son, he stayed home from school, and we didn't want him going back to school until he was better and tested negative. Want to know why? Because we didn't want our son spreading COVID-19 to everybody. So, we did at-home tests. We did a Iowa Health Department test, and they both came out positive. We called him into school sick, like you should do when your son or daughter is sick, because then you're not contributing to spreading the sickness around the fucking world. And then, so we kept him home for a few weeks, and they were getting irritated with us. His teacher was. We had a conference when my son was still sick, and she was saying, don't allow Kinnick to stay home. If he's wanting to stay home from school, you and Jason need to tell him that he can't stay home from school. And me and my husband were thinking, why are you talking to us like we're children? Like we're these like young parents that don't know how to parent and undermining us like that. Like, why are you telling us to not keep our son home from school? We know that when our son's not sick, he's supposed to be in school. Like, it was like she was trying to get us to get in trouble and get truancy involved. It was just a weird comment. Like, it was a comment that didn't need to be made. And it's a decision that me and my husband needed to make whether or not we wanted our son to stay home from school or not if he was sick. Not hers, ours. So that was weird. Um, and I really feel like she leaded other teachers like some lawyers do in court. She like led other teachers to believe that my son was like really really disabled and needy and kind of like Down syndrome like is how she was trying to portray my son, which is not true at all if you guys really actually knew my son, because he's a very bright, smart, and sharp kid. Um, Let me flip this over. So, um, she said in one of her emails that she wrote to me and my husband that communication skills are a concern for his safety, because there was one incident where the school photographer came and he was getting his school pictures taken. They asked for what his name was, and my son didn't hear him, the photographer. So he asked him again, "What did you say?" And then the photographer repeated, and then my son said his name. The teacher thought that was very concerning. So if I don't hear somebody say something to me and I ask them to repeat that, that means that my doctor and a teacher, if I'm going to college, thinks that that's a safety, a communication skill concern for my safety. That's weird. My husband contacted her and talked to her about that, and she did not have an answer as to why she felt that was a safety concern. That was very odd. Um, so then, let's see what else. Oh, my younger daughter went to the same school. Again, I'm not going to say what the name of the school is. And my daughter's friend went to the school with her. They went to the same school. My daughter is in middle school now, so this was just like 3 years ago when my daughter went there. She knew a little bit about what was going on, and she knew who the teacher that my son had. And her friend even said that that lady was very, very mean. That teacher was very, very mean. And so, I mean, I had other children that were going to that school even saying she was mean before my son had her as a teacher. So it wasn't good. And then let's see. Uh, so that's about it. That, I mean, she was just a harassing, very annoying teacher. Teachers out there, there's other ways to approach parents. You don't tell them how to parent their child. That's one thing you don't do. Big no no. And unless it's like really seriously a DHS situation, like you can tell the parents aren't good. Um, and I like I said, I don't know if it's because I'm young, a younger parent, so she didn't like that and just decided to treat me that way. I don't know what it was, but she had a thing out for my son. She even talked about just how he seemed like he maybe didn't even know where he was. And that is not my son at all. And I even told her, I said, the way, it's you're making it sound like my son is really slow, and he's not. He's very, very bright. And it's just weird for somebody to say that in the 25 years that they've been a teacher that they haven't seen any kid with a IEP plan, like a learning disability. That to me just doesn't even sound true. I mean, I had learning disabilities myself, and my teachers worked with plenty of kids that were like me and that had learning disabilities. So if she's been a teacher for 25 years and has never worked with a kid that has a disability, where the fuck has she been working then? Because as far as I'm concerned, every school I fucking went to, there was somebody with a learning disability. I don't know. I just, I'm a little more hostile in this video than I am in my other videos, because I'm really, really pissed off about that teacher. And I have been pissed off for a year. This is why my feelings are coming out, because I bit my tongue for a year. And there's some followers on here that know me personally, but there's a lot more that don't. And if you know who I am personally, it's very hard for me to bite my tongue. And I didn't say anything to her all year long. So what I did was, oh yeah, I called the principal at the end of the year, which was yesterday. No, today. Was that yesterday or today? Jeez. It was yesterday. Okay. And I said, hello, Mr. And I'm not going to say his name. And I said, before I say anything at all, my family has been going to this school for a very long time. We love it there. We love you. We love Mr. Blank, Miss Blank, Miss Blank. And I was naming off all the teachers and people that I like there at the facility. And I said, so before I say anything, I just want to let you know that I don't want you to take this personally. This isn't against you, but this is solely about blank. And I said my son's teacher's name. And then I spouted out everything that I told you guys. I told him everything that she said and did. I even have a recording on my husband's phone of a conversation that me, my husband, and her had. And we recorded it because prior to her calling, and this was not a conference call either. This was a phone call that she wanted to have. Prior to her recording, she was sending me those harassing emails about my son that weren't even true. So, yeah, like sending me those emails, harassing ones, calling me and being weird. So, it made me and my husband feel like we needed to record and get defensive, get in our defense mode, get protected, because this lady was really weird and sneaky, like just like how you would see on a movie, like being all teacher like she would never harm a kid or never be weird or mean to the parents. But then when like the principal wasn't around or other teachers, then that's when she would pull her shit, because it would be a hearsay type thing. But you know what's funny? That's why we recorded the conversation, because when you have concrete evidence of somebody literally talking their voice, then nobody can say that wasn't her saying that, because everybody can hear what somebody's voice sounds like. So yeah, it's just, and she mentions what school she's calling from and everything before she starts talking. This is Miss Blank from Blank Elementary School. I'm just calling to reach out to you because we made an appointment today to talk about your son, Kinnick. And so yes, she mentions her name and why she's calling before she talks. So if I were her, I would stay clear of me and my son. The rest of my son attends that elementary school, which is another, he'll be in 4th grade, so another 2 years. But I told my husband, if there's any trouble, any at all, and it starts to get real crazy and she just can't hold herself back, we'll move him to a different school, because it's not worth him getting picked on. But I also talked to my son and told him, hey, we talked to your principal about your mean teacher. So next year, if she tries talking to you or looking at you or anything, just ignore her. And if she doesn't leave you alone, go tell the principal. So everything's all copacetic now. But at the end of the school day, which was today, this was his last final day there, she goes up to my son during recess and says, Kinnick, I have some questions for you. Were you in remote learning last year? And he's like, yeah. And then she's like, did you have a good school year this year? And he's like, yeah. And then she's like, is your mom rude? And my son's like, no. And my son came home and fucking told me all this shit, you guys. I shit you not. Why would a teacher say, is your mom rude? What a fucking conniving, vindictive, weird freak of nature teacher that lady was. So what did I do? That teacher thinking that she got the last word in, because that's what she was trying to do by asking my son questions like that. She wasn't trying to ask my son questions innocently. She was asking my son those questions because she knew my son would come home and tell me what she asked. So, my smart brain, my husband's smart brain, my husband emails the principal. I call the principal. My husband calls the principal. We didn't get a hold of him, but I did get a hold of somebody. Somebody that works in the main office that's going to that got the message to the principal. And I told her, and I get along with her, and my whole family gets along with her, everything that teacher said, and every question the teacher asked to my son today. So she's in deep shit, and I hope that she comes across this video, because she can't do anything to me. I didn't say any name. I didn't name a school. And nobody can prove that I'm talking about this specific person. So this is my personal YouTube, my personal feelings about this person and teacher. I have the right to freedom of speech. And my opinion on her is that, in my opinion, that teacher was a bitch. And I'm so glad my son is done. He graduated 3rd grade today. He gets to move on. He doesn't have that bitchy teacher anymore, and I got her in trouble. That's why she asked my son those questions, because she was so irritated that I got her in trouble that she wanted to spice things up and try to get me riled up. So I'm happy that it worked, that I talked to the principal and that he talked to her, because it obviously worked, because she had to go so low as to ask my son if his mom's being rude. What a loser. Anyways, son Kinnick, when you see this, when you get older, and when I'm dead and gone or whatever, I hope you laugh. I hope you enjoy that your mom was very protective over you. I always will be. I will continue to do that. And I want you to smile about this, because I want you to know that's what I've been doing this whole time that I've been your mother, is taking care of you and protecting you from idiots like that. So anyways, other moms out there, I feel for you if you're having teacher problems. And teachers out there, I hope you learn from this experience that us parents aren't stupid. We may not have the education that you do, but some of us have street smarts. Sorry, in there I made myself look stupid by not being able to talk. Some of us have street smarts, which can make us much smarter than book smart. So don't play games with parents like that. Be adults, be educated like you're supposed to be, and treat people with respect. So anyways, comment below if you've ever had an incident like that. Otherwise, I'm happy to share my story that felt good, and I will be on with another life topic.